I can say I'm an expert in this stuff despite not having 10 years of AI experience.
There's a few dangers to AI that people perhaps aren't aware of.
I think the most dangerous thing for AI when it comes to businesses is expecting it to be the silver bullet.
And you said something there that's so pivotal to everyone who listens to this. I had to change my beliefs.
I've always tried to be open to changing. You saw the guys who made all the e-commerce money and were just obnoxious and awful about it. So I guess it's just keeping my eyes open as much as possible and not falling victim to a pattern set by people before me.
Give me an example then of how people can use AI to get more leads.
The most popular ones at the moment is things like,
are you spending money on vanity metrics rather than spending money on what actually really moves the needle? And you've always got to question yourself on what path you're getting pulled down as an entrepreneur.
Purely comes down to those KPIs. Change the metric and you get a much better lens to look through to determine what success really is.
If you are the plumber, if you are the carpenter, if you are the mechanic, you should 100% look at implementing AI into your top of funnel, reaching out to more clients. How can we be cold emailing you? How can it reply to emails? All this kind of stuff.
If I was to have the biggest impact on as many people's lives as possible, it would be...
If there's one topic I've wanted to dive into with you guys for the longest time, it's AI and how you can implement it into your business, your brands, and everything you're doing. Because at the end of the day, if you're not utilizing AI right now, I think you're at a loss. So today I've brought on Liam. He's the founder of Morningside AI, and this guy is an absolute wizard when it comes to implementing these strategies in your business. Mate, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, I wanted to try and give you a little bit of a decent intro, but I think I've kind of sold you short. Give me a background into how you first got into AI. Obviously, I see you as the AI expert. If I've got any AI questions, I ask you. So, give me a bit of a background into how you stumbled into it.
Yeah, it's a long story, but it's also at the same time not the longest. With the AI that we have at the moment, it's the LLM-based AI like ChatGPT. That's kind of my area of specialty, and a lot of people have been specialists in AI for 5-10 years, but it's really the other types of AI that have been around for a lot longer, but it's the recent boom we've seen is based off this LLM AI stuff. So technically, I'm an expert in the LLM specialist types of AI, which is really what everyone calls AI these days. And it's been about a 14-month journey for me since I really got into it, but that was sort of the end product of a long journey of over 4 years of entrepreneurship before that. So I got into, as everyone does, doing e-commerce and dropshipping to get my start, finding my feet in the online business space. And then I went on to working in my business partner's marketing agency, which was, again, furthering my marketing skill set. But then I had a chance, I'd made enough money, and I was like, I want to go back to working on some of the stuff that I really liked when I was younger, which was developing software and building and coding. And so I spent a year, basically took a whole year off, hiatus, teaching myself to code, doing Udemy courses, everything I could get my hands on, learning Python, machine learning. And it was just very, very convenient timing that at the same time as ChatGPT came out, I got exposure to that, I think, in December of 2022. And that was just literally a few weeks after I'd been playing around with other language models other than GPT-3 for sentiment analysis tasks. And I'd be doing okay, can I scrape Twitter and analyze the sentiment of these tweets? So without even knowing it, it's scary when I look back at it now because it was so close to exactly what I'd end up doing for the next 12 months and probably 5-10 years or more from now. And then so it's a very quick hop, skip, and a jump for me to go from the coding work that I was doing with language models over to ChatGPT and GPT-3 and the language models that OpenAI have been created. So launched my YouTube channel in start of 2023, January. As soon as I saw the opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm going all in on this. This is what I want to focus on for the next while. And really, you see me become more of an expert over the past year, 14 months. I've just decided to document my journey the whole way. And you can see me doing coding tutorials and putting in the reps and working on how can I get these LLMs and systems to build different things for businesses. And I just did it over and over and over and over again. And then we started doing it over and over again for clients through my agency, Morningside AI. And yeah, the rest is history. Then we started teaching it to other people as well. And the way that I've become what you would call an expert, again, I don't want to seem too full of myself here, but for the LLM technology that we have, I would definitely class myself as an expert in terms of how it applies to business, as you said, but not to waltz into the space with 14 months experience. I know there's nothing more obnoxious than that, but there's AI experts for 10 years. I can say that I'm an expert in LLM solutions for businesses, which is kind of what everyone calls AI for now. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And one of the things that I love about what you've done specifically in AI is the fact of you've gone, okay, right, I need to make money. So I've made money in my marketing agency. I've done all that. I've been in that space. I've made my money. Now I want to lock myself away so I can do the thousands of hours worth of reps that it takes to become an expert in these LLMs, these protocols, these language models that you're talking about, which is what you've done. You've took yourself away. Even when I was trying to book this podcast with you, and we arranged a time, me and you arranged a time for the podcast. When I even tried to book it in your calendar, you've got an auto cancelling thing in your calendar because you specifically want your time at certain times of the day to be able to do what you say you're doing. So you are literally a practitioner of what you say. You lock out the time and you put the reps in to learn these models. I think there's a few dangers to AI that people perhaps aren't aware of. You must have come across some of them in your journey where like there's some downsides to this, right? Because I've seen it seen other experts talk about the pitfalls of this. So I want to see what you think of the pitfalls of this.
I think there's probably people who are better, more experienced. These 10-year AI guys can tell you about the long term. Like, is this gonna destroy the world or anything? I'm more of an optimist on it. I think humans have always invented our way out of problems. I'm not someone who thinks that we're going to conserve our way out. We need to change everything in our world to conserve things, to restrict humans across the globe in order to meet our survival targets so that the world doesn't blow up. I think that the only way that humans have succeeded in the past is to invent our way out of things, new energy sources, new technologies. That's just been the case of humans from day dot, right? So I'm a big optimist that AI can end up being something that allows us to invent our way out of the biggest problems like climate change and all these other sort of becoming multiplanetary. If we can create AI that's smart enough and super intelligent that can assist us with creation and new technologies, then we can invent our way out of, like limitless energy. If we can invent a way for us to create a limitless energy source, that's basically all of humanity's problems solved in an afternoon. So I think that my way of leaning into that and making sure that AI has a positive effect on the world is, okay, how can I teach what I've done and sort of how I found my opportunity of, okay, look, AI is going to be this big field. You can go in there and you can find your opportunity. I created my YouTube channel. I started doing consulting. I've done basically any AI business you can make along the way in order to find my opportunity of, okay, this is my agency. And then I've also, okay, how can other people start agencies as well? And that's allowing me to have the biggest impact and good on the world, because if I can turn entrepreneurs into AI entrepreneurs and give them the skills and the understanding that they need to use this technology to further innovate and build, okay, here's how AI can help businesses in this way. Here's how AI can help customers. Here's how AI can help, like some of our clients that we do with our at Morningside, is how can this help the medical industry? So my way of having the biggest impact on making sure that AI does have the best effect on the world is to create as many AI entrepreneurs as possible. But going back to your question, I think the most dangerous thing for AI when it comes to businesses is expecting it to be the silver bullet that's just going to fix all their problems.
Yeah.
And we get this a lot. It's something. Yeah, there's a lot of expectation management when you're working with like AI clients from within our agency, and they'll see ChatGPT and they'll just think it's AI is just going to solve everything in my business, and it's not. It's still the technology we have is text based in many ways. You have the sort of vision models as well, and sound. There's all sorts of different models, but for the most part, this technology is being able to predict the next letter or next word in the sentence, right? So there's nothing super scary about that, and the technology itself is fundamentally quite dumb, but that's why it is not going to be the silver bullet for people. And I think the biggest danger for people as it applies to their life is going to be, let's not expect this thing to do everything for us. It's still very hard to build systems that are capable and do what you expect them to do.
I saw this firsthand because I consider myself, because I've been exploring AI for such a long time within my business now, like, the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been kind of tampering with different AIs. I mean, even going back a couple of years, even Jasper, when Jasper first came out as a product, even that was a certain type of AI back in the early days. So I've seen it. One thing I've noticed about AI and the difference in your result is engineering the right prompts to get the outcome that you want. And I think a lot of people fail when they're prompting ChatGPT, for example. If you give it a rubbish description, you will get a rubbish outcome. So just break down where you see people being able to use it in their business, and also how to prompt it to get the best out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think what you touched on there is prompt engineering in the first place. And prompt engineering is something that I've had sort of a bit of a journey with, and I think everyone else deserves to give it a bit of a second look. Everyone's heard, okay, there's these guys making $300,000 a year being hired by these AI companies to do prompt engineering. So basically just writing English and getting paid stupid amounts of money. But there's a reason that it's so important. As you mentioned, if you give it a bit of crap prompt, it's not going to give you the output, garbage in, garbage out. And I've recently had to revisit prompt engineering as a topic on my channel. If you guys go to my channel, you can see I've got an hour-long video of me just talking through exactly what we use at my agency that we've developed over 12 months of delivering for clients. And it's formulaic, but we don't want to teach the formula underlying it. And for business owners who are looking to apply these systems to their own businesses, knowing the fundamentals of prompt engineering and how you can get these language models to do what you expect them to do and extract value out of these models. By definition, the quality of your instructions determines the amount of value you can extract out of this technology. So if you can make your instructions better, you can get more value out of this new technology than the other person can. So that's why I highly recommend, if you as a business owner have not taken a decent amount of prompt engineering courses, to come up to speed on, okay, yes, there's conversational prompting, which is using ChatGPT, and you can there's a wide margin for error, because you can tell it to, okay, you haven't done that correctly, can you please, you can nudge it back in the right direction. But when it comes to building systems, you need to have you can't do that. If you've built AI into a part of your business, say part of your sales process, and it's going to translate or skim over a transcript and do some outputs, it needs to be so well prompted that it gives the exact right answer every single time. So that kind of skill for business owners, and then also teaching that to some degree to your team, allowing them to say, okay, you can now systemize this particular task and use AI as a function to take some inputs, process it, and then output it. You can get your team to build their own AI tools and systems to speed things up and make the systems even better. But when it comes to the things that are most beneficial for businesses, there's a wide range of different things that are on the market at the moment, and it's been a long time coming. It's been like 12 months since we're really delivering these things, and the technology that we had 12 months ago was absolutely garbage, and there's very, very few systems you could build without a ton of custom code and building things really from scratch with an expensive team. So the question really is, if you want to try and benefit your business with AI yourself and learn these things like prompt engineering and try to tinker around, or do you want to go to an agency and say, hey, look, I'm looking to get a tailored solution here to really implement it. So the issue then is that, do you have the use case? Do you know what you know? You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you need to somehow have exposure to what AI can do for your business, and hopefully I can do a bit of that on this.
Yeah, I think you're right in what you're saying. I think if you've got the capital and you've got a really capitalized business doing 50 to 100K a month, maybe you bring someone on like yourself that can help guide and this, that, and the other. I think people though at less than 50K a month, I think you want to learn as much as you can yourself so you really understand it. So you can actually implement it. I mean, one of the things that I worked on and worked out as a clear prompt for me was when I was looking for sales copy. I just go, you can pre-prompt the AI to write sales copy, and what I mean by that is you go, well, write me a long form sales letter in the voice of insert copywriter's name that's one of the best in the world. Let's just say Frank Kern. And then insert the topic, and then give using this example copy that we've already pre-written, but just make it better, and then that's such a long prompt, and you get a real specific answer when you prompt like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas some people are going, write me a long form sales letter for this niche. You're not going to get anywhere near the quality that you need, because it's not in the voice of anybody. It's not written in anyone's style. It's not mimicking anything. You're not giving it enough data to be able to, put it forward, have you?
Yeah, so that's exactly what the video that I put out recently addresses. It's just, you need a certain set of components, or at least I call it a toolkit. And I've based at Morningside, we've based all of the components of our prompt. That's kind of our go-to, I'd say, formula, but formulas end up being crutches for people. They rely on templates and they don't understand the thinking behind it. So I've tried to teach not just, okay, here's a formula, kind of taking the piss out of, here's another formula, but it's a formula and here's why each part is included. And we have research papers backing up each one. So people are going crazy with researching these LLMs and testing the prompting methods, and it's really cool stuff that's going on in the academic space. But we're taking the learnings from that and saying, like, okay, role prompting, okay, emotion prompting, lost in the middle effect. There's all these different effects that these LLMs are just, they're black boxes, and we kind of throw something in and something comes out on the other side. So we don't really know what's happening. But what they can do is use these scientific papers to determine, okay, this is a general trend as to how they behave. How can we incorporate that into our prompting? And that's what I'm trying to teach on the channel, particularly because if I don't teach my audience and all the people who follow me how to do prompt engineering, everything is downstream of that.
Because
If you're trying to make voice agents, which we can go into in a bit, if you want to make text-based agents, if you want to create automations, if you want to create AI tools, everything that you do is downstream of that. So if I'm trying to educate other people on how to start AI businesses, particularly AI agencies, and say I have my own software as well, but in order for my software to do well, I need to have people who can successfully run AI agencies and be profitable. So that I have to teach them how, okay, if you don't know how to prompt, you're never going to become a successful agency owner. You're never going to end up using my software. I don't win if you don't win. So that's why I go back to the basics and I teach, okay, prompt engineering. Okay, what's the basics of AI agents? You'll see on my channel, I do 2-hour, 3-hour long videos on how to build chatbots.
Let's bring it down to its simplest form and give examples, because I think it'll be useful for the audience. I want them to have practical advice they can take away from this podcast and use from today, without having to go and look at another video, even though I know that they will, even though I know it's a deeper topic than what we're talking about here. But like, let's just, I really want to dive deep into this prompt engineering with examples. So give me some basic examples of a bad prompt for a topic and a good prompt. You know, give me some so people can understand.
Yeah. So using the example of say we have a system and it's email classification. We typically work with building systems businesses, right? So it's going to be this thing is going to be deployed and probably on something like Zapier or Make, and there's an AI task within it. And say we have emails coming in from a lead form, and people are saying, "Oh, hey, look, I'd like to build this." We want to use an AI classifier to read that email, read the subject line, maybe take in as much information as possible, and then label it. Just label it. You could set up an autoresponder, but in this case, we just want to label it as an example. So we want to label it as, okay, this is an opportunity for our business. It meets our criteria of what we're looking to do. Maybe needs attention if it's something that's kind of it's not too sure on, but could be interesting, could not. And then ignore if it's just a time waster, tie cracker. So the system, that prompt itself, the most basic version that people would do is classify this email into needs opportunity and opportunity, needs attention, opportunity, and ignore. Just 3 labels. That's all the average ChatGPT user would use, is just put in a description of the task. But if you want to create this thing to be far more consistent, you can start to layer in these other techniques. So the first thing that we'll add in is a role prompt. And this is something that you're probably familiar with. A lot of the audience will be as well. Saying, as you said with the copyright example, like, you are Gary Halbert, you are XYZ. So either using a specific name and referencing someone in real life or in history that it would know about in its training data as a role prompt, saying, or it's generally easier if you don't have an obvious example, it's just say, you are a world-class insert person who does this task. So you are a world-class email classifier assistant. You are by far the best, You are so precise, you are exact, and you really hype the model up. So hyping the model up is a thing that is highly recommended. You can get sort of 100% performance increases on your outputs if you can hype it up. So the role prompt is an easy one to add in, UI XYZ, and then sort of tell it how great it is at doing its task. Then I add a section called specifics, which is something that you can add a little bit more context to the task. So if the task is the email classification step, we might say, okay, can you please only output this label as your output, just the label and the word itself. Then you can go into context. Okay, what is the context in which the system is actually operating? You are operating as part of our sales process, and this is how customers are getting in touch with us. And you give it more context as to how it's operating within the system as a whole. And then you can add examples, of course, adding, okay, this is that one email, this is the label we should put. This is another email, this is the label we should put. And then finally, at the end, there is a notes section that we like to use, which is really just for tacking on things if it's not performing correctly. So there's scientific papers behind each of those different components, but as a general rule of thumb, role, tell it who it is, task, tell it what to do, specifics, reiterate things within the task that it may forget or you want to highlight, context, what is the system doing and what context is it performing it in, who is your business, who are your customers, etc. Examples, can you give input-output pairs of human-written outputs so it knows what to do, and then notes at the end for anything you need to tack on. So that's kind of our end-to-end formula. I try to give it as fast as possible.
No, that's that. I love the way you've done that, because that literally breaks it right down for me. Because like you're talking about, most people put in one line of data, literally a sentence, to get ChatGPT to work, and if it doesn't work for them, they get aggravated. You know, some better prompt engineers may put in a paragraph, but what you're talking about is you're putting in an absolute framework to how you want it to be done. You give a measurable outcome in terms of what a human's done at the end, an example. You give the specifics of the task that they should concentrate on. You give it the outline of who it's got to be. Okay, you are the world-class copywriter Gary Halbert. Write this direct response letter in the voice of Gary Halbert and for this niche, specifically what you want, include specifics of what you include, and you're just really, really breaking it down. So I guess what I want everyone to pick up is like the more detail you can put into this model, the better outcome you're going to get. And that might sound, yeah, that's obvious, Frankie, but it's not obvious, is it? Because some people aren't doing it. So this is a template they can get from your channel?
Yep, it's a video. I guess we can link it below or something, but I did an hour-long breakdown. I also got my CTO. So it's not just my learnings. This is actually coming from, because I obviously don't develop my own solutions for my clients anymore. My team does that. So my CTO, Spencer, who's got 6-7 years of NLP experience, he's been the one who's really pulling on this information, and I actually get him on the video for 10 minutes to discuss new things, and he taught me more in that little 10 minutes that I didn't even know before that I started the video. So there's plenty of stuff on that video.
There's something crucial you just said there, NLP. So you use neuro-linguistic programming with inside your model to get a better outcome in terms of like what the deliverables and how the deliverables are used in like, and how they transpire.
It's a tricky one because NLP was neuro-linguistic program, but it's also natural language processing. So
right,
on the development and sort of AI side of things, it's natural language processing, but in the neuro-linguistic programming's been a thing for a lot longer, right? So
I thought you were layering neuro-linguistic program into it and using like the psychology of the whole thing on top and layering on top.
People do integrate that into prompting, and that's I guess some of what is underpinning it, because it all comes off what's trained. These models are trained on, right? So that may have, if it's mimicking a human brain, they have a neural network. Potentially, it would. I know some of my students are NLP practitioners, and they create these prompting tools that integrate NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, not natural language processing, into their prompts as well, and they perform great. So I've yet to do any side-by-side tests to see if there's, I guess to some degree, there are some techniques like a motion prompt that could be based off that, but I'd need to do some more research. I'm sure people are looking into it. So
what industries do you see the most getting disrupted? Because originally when AI was was coming out into the world, I was expecting other things to get disrupted. I wasn't expecting it to start disrupting copywriters and photographers and graphic designers and the way that it has. I wasn't expecting that layer to go first. So like where else do you see it really disrupting the marketplace right now? And how can people get ahead of it so they don't get their businesses toasted by this?
Yeah, I guess businesses versus employees is a bit of a different one. If you're
Let's go for both. Let's go for employees first. Where is it disturbing you?
I don't have my finger on the pulse that much on the employee side, but I would say just any knowledge work. If you're like writing, of course, is quite a big one. I think the entire film industry is up for a big shakeup with things like Sora coming out, which are it will completely change our world. I think we're underestimating just how much these videos. Sorry, if you're not familiar with Sora, it's OpenAI's video generation model now. So you can say, generate me a first-person view shot of someone skydiving over the Dolomites or something, and then it can, based off training data, it can generate you a video exactly like that. So if you're looking to generate a B-roll for your video, or you're looking to even create a whole movie at some point and say, hey, make a movie that does this and this, that's going to completely change certain industries like the film. So when it comes to knowledge workers, it's not going to be the plumbers who are getting put out of a job. It's going to be the people who are using their brain, and anything that you can try to download someone's consciousness and their knowledge into a certain system, then you technically could be replaced. So for me, making my videos, if I can take all of my information in my brain about how to start AI businesses and how I run my agency into some kind of system, and then I can say, okay, well, generate me 5 new video ideas. Suddenly I'm kind of looking less necessary to the system. Whether or not it can actually be creative and come up with things that are outside of that is yet to be seen. But anything knowledge work related. So if you're in an office, if you're a consultant, these kind of things are kind of getting a bit close. And that's why we're trying to get people to make the jump now, and it'd rather be the one doing the replacing than the one being replaced. Because if you're a knowledge worker, you've probably got great skills that you can transfer over to starting one of these businesses.
Yeah, and 100%. One of the things that I see getting disturbed most is like the knowledge workers within the government sector, because obviously governments, in any country, there's a vast amount of workers in these environments.
Maybe too
many. There are too many, and obviously they're going to lean that out, aren't they? And a lot of public servants are going to get leaned out of AI because they're not required. Yep. So if you can learn how to use AI and put it in with what you're doing and use it as a tool for your betterment and to make you more productive in your role, I think that's the way that you should look at AI rather than looking at it as a danger to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you can position yourself with, again, I'm not a veteran in the workforce, but if I was in their position and I was working a 9 to 5, I had a job, I would be trying to be the most AI centric person in the whole team. I'd be saying, hey, look, bringing things to the boss and saying, look, I can add value to this team by recommending ways that we can augment. Like there's augmentation of humans, and then setting up co-pilot systems, which is like, okay, I'm going to do my job faster and better. And then there's replacement. And I think for a lot of maybe a bit of peace of mind for some people who are watching, we're definitely in the augmentation stage right now. There's replacement of smaller tasks, but it's definitely an augmentation of roles primarily.
What when it comes to businesses, what have you seen them successfully put in an AI, where they've put in an AI and it's just increased the profitability in a mad way? Like what are the most extreme examples?
There's no silver bullet, Frankie.
There must be some examples where it has, though. Like in terms, not where it's put a silver bullet and saved the whole business, but where you've put in AI to do a certain task within it, and it's just made the whole business way more profitable.
Yeah, there's isolated cases. A lot of it. One of my students, Isaiah, he's built a incredible appointment setting system for coaches and consultants. And so this setting part of the business is extremely painful. There's a high volume, high frequency task. And if we can set up a system as he's done to replace these, there's a high turnover and churn. If you're working as a coaching business, you'll know that setting appointments via DMs is probably one of the most mundane and boring tasks imaginable. So you get a high churn on the people who come in. Now, in terms of a complete, an impact made on the business, replacing that particular role has been some of the most impressive things that I've seen for businesses, because it's okay, this big burden that was on the back, okay, every 2 months someone's probably going to leave and I'm going to have to hire another setter, and it's just, as business owners, we like to have all the hatches buttoned down, right? And knowing that something could pop up at any point, it can be really awful. And so having these appointment setting systems that allows AI to set appointments for you and wiping that role off entirely is probably one of the highest ROI use cases that I've seen. I've also seen examples of these AI voice systems that are popping up right now, which I think are going to be absolutely massive. I think they're going to potentially overtake the text-based agents that we're seeing like ChatGPT, but these AI voice systems, one example of a guy called Samin Yassar, who is a friend of mine now, and he also has a YouTube channel. He set up AI receptionists is what I call them, and you can attach them to a static phone line for a business. Say, I think this case, it was an HVAC company for the client that he was working with. And this HVAC client, he swapped out the phone line because he was getting calls after hours. Sometimes they were calling him and he was busy, and that he was missing a certain percentage of the calls that were coming into the business. And what he was able to do is replace that phone line with an automated AI answering machine essentially. And every time a call comes in, it answers, hey, look, how can I help you? This is da-da-da-da. What would you like to do? And there's a couple of different options that he offers. It might be, okay, I want to book an appointment, or I'd like to leave a complaint, or et cetera. You kind of have a bit of a home main menu when they answer the phone. And this led, after he set that up, obviously they can take calls at all hours. It's maximizing the amount of business that they can receive through that phone line. They saw a 20% increase in leads within the first couple of weeks. So might not be completely life-changing, but that is just simply setting up a small system in a business to replace this phone line. And when you think about how many businesses all over the planet can apply that static phone line with the AI on the other end, there's really exciting use cases that are coming out.
I know, and you can get rid of so many receptionists by using that. Yeah. And it's probably...
My mum's a receptionist, so I don't know if she's too happy about me spreading this stuff. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, it's the most mundane job ever. I think some businesses need that human touch that you can get into afterwards. But with the developments of language models in AI that I've seen whole podcasts now recorded where, Joe Rogan and Elon Musk are talking to each other. And you know what? It's rudimental, but in a year's time, it'll be seamless. Like a year from now, I think those language models will have so much data from like Elon and Rogan's podcast that the conversation would sound natural, and it'd be you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Will AI be able to successfully translate podcasters like me, for instance, or YouTubers like you, for instance, into like change the language, make us speak Spanish seamlessly and be able to put it, overlay it over our video, make our mouth move in the Spanish language tone, but without losing our voice and accent. Do you know what I'm saying? But
I think there's systems right now that you can do that with. I was looking into dubbing my stuff into Portuguese and into Spanish to reach more people. And I had some guys who were really eager to do it with me. So these systems do exist. And I think a lot of it's happening right now with short form content, but it's the real tricky part, as you mentioned, is the mouth moving. So you can dub I've seen myself dubbed into other languages and it sounds like me speaking Spanish or me speaking Portuguese or something. I haven't seen the mouth moving yet, but I do believe people are doing that.
Yeah. Cause I knew that they're not quite there yet, because even when you turn on Netflix or anything that dubbed, you know, it's not, they can't even get it right yet. Yeah. So the language models must be getting refined to do that stuff. Quick one for you guys. This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. As many of you are probably aware, I set up contentremoval.com in 2017 to help people remove all forms of online content. And I've looked after some of the biggest names and brands in the world doing it. And I would love to help you if you're struggling. If you're struggling to remove images, videos, search results, fake accounts, or anything online, go to contentremoval.com and we'll help you today. Give me an example then of how people can use AI to get more leads. Because like most people in their business, they think they need more leads. This is the critical thing. They'll think, I need more leads. It will solve everything. We both know that that's not the case, but a lot of people want to understand how they can generate more leads from ChatGPT and from the basic language models available if they're just starting out. So is there any advice you can give on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. One of the sort of most popular ones at the moment, a lot of the solutions that guys in my community are selling, is things like lead generation chatbots. And it might sound basic, might sound mundane, but it's basically just converting website visitors into leads. And that's kind of what your website's designed to do. So if you can create a chatbot that, whether it's a widget in the bottom corner that pops up as soon as they land on the page, it says, hey, this is Sandy from XYZ business. How can I help you today? And it's like, oh, I've just got a few questions about this. If you can start that conversation with them, and by it really helps. There's a setting you can do when you're building these bots is to get it to open up automatically when they land on the page. People are getting more and more used to interacting via chat, thanks to ChatGPT and things like this. So there's a bit of consumer taste and preferences shift towards conversational interactions with businesses. And these lead generation chatbots, I did a pretty cool example on the channel say if I was a solar company and I was selling solar panels in installments, I created a chatbot for them, which would, well, technically an AI agent. That's the sexy new name for them. So chatbots have kind of an older, more basic association to it, but these AI agents are really a lot more powerful. And I urge people who are thinking you can't sell a chatbot for $5,000, $10,000 to reframe it as an AI agent, because they're a lot more advanced. But getting back to what I was saying, this solar chatbot agent was equipped with a knowledge base based off the the business's services and offers. So I just uploaded a document, and it could talk over and answer questions about what they sell, where they're from, etc. Any information that they need to know about the business before making a buying decision. But then I also included a lead capture tool, and I also included a solar roof, a solar saving calculator into that as well. So you can add these custom tools, which can be called intelligently through the conversation. And what I prompted it to do is answer a few questions, and then if they seem interested, offer to do a calculation of their solar savings for the year. Based off I was using the Google Solar API in the background. So I could take in their address, and I think their monthly power bill, and I sent it off to a system that I'd built. It was able to check their location, get the size and shape of their roof, and the amount of sun exposure they get, and then determine a calculation of how much money they could save for the solar installation, shoot that back to them, say, hey, look, here's the breakdown of the different solar options you have. Here's how much money you could save. Would you like to book in a call with one of our specialists?
And this is inside 30 seconds, this is happening.
Yeah. And it's really awesome stuff. I'd recommend if anyone wants to watch that. It is. I was like coding the whole time. So I did template as much of it as possible, but that's kind of what, in terms of lead generation, that's one of the best options right now is a tool, and then a knowledge base as well.
How much can you use like the language models that we have in order to generate the code to be able to code? Are you generating the code yourself from your own knowledge of coding, or are you getting ChatGPT and other language models to generate the code for you and then coding out the back end, putting it together?
Yeah, I don't basically never have to write any code myself anymore, as long as you know enough about it. And I think if you take if you really want to get into the space, you can do it without coding for sure. There's plenty of examples of people who are doing that. But if you are struggling and you're having issues, then taking a crash course on Python, and so that you can tell ChatGPT, as long as you can describe what you want and then kind of read what it is doing back, then that can help you. But what really has been the silver bullet for people getting into AI, which is what we've based this whole AI automation agency model, which myself and my team have really created and coined, is that we noticed that you don't have to be doing custom coding. We were selling custom coded AI solutions for our clients for the first couple of months. And then I was like, I saw these chatbot builders bouncing around, and I was like, man, let me just see if a client would care if I built it on that. And so I went in and built it out on a platform called BotPress at the time. We use different stuff now, but I built it out, sent it off to him, and he was like, man, this is great. This is exactly what we wanted. So he got what he wanted. He paid a whole lot less, and we were able to close clients to these no-code platforms. So when it comes to creating these solutions, what I was just talking about, that solar lead gen, while there is the stuff that I did with the custom code in that build is now able to be done. I could completely do it end to end with no-code or low-code tools. So that's what's really blown this AI automation agency opportunity right open for myself, for other people in my community, for some of my friends as well, is that you don't need to have a massive background in development to be able to hop on these tools and start playing around. Like you could go on and start making one for your business. You could watch one of my tutorials and go, okay, well, I can take this. I know what this little tool would be for my business, and I know where I want my leads to go. I can kind of just combine them all together. And that might take a little while as someone who's completely new, but for someone like myself or other people in my community, it's like a day to build one of those out.
I know, it's literally about being curious. I mean, everything here is about the curiosity to go and build this stuff for yourself. And this all relates back to once you automate this and once you've built these kind of systems, they last. So it's like you take away tasks in your business. So essentially, when you're looking at a business, like anyone on here that's got a business, essentially the first thing you're looking at is how can you automate it with AI before you bring in people? That's essentially the framework you're looking at it for. And can I build something out? And if it takes me 2 days but gets rid of 20 hours a week of a person, then I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in a tricky phase right now of transition from these custom code to low-code tools. And AI services, I mean, some of the quotes that we hand out from my agency are pretty eye-watering, and I'm surprised some people take them in many ways, because it's like this is so much money to be putting out, but these guys really want this stuff to be built into their business. Like, to build custom AI software, it costs a lot of money because the developers we have to hire are best of the best. Like, they're in such high demand right now. The rates for these AI developers are just going through the roof. So if you're looking to build these things into your business, you can do a bit of an audit. We typically go for the highest volume task first, because volume usually equates to value. If there's a task that's being done 1,000 times a month and we can automate one particular part of that, that's going to be far more value than if we did something that you do 3 times a week. So usually we do audits with businesses, and we'll start off with, okay, what are the highest volume? And it usually ends up being on the prospecting side, because that's when you've got, by nature, at the top of the funnel, you've got the most people, right? So whether that's quotations or like conversations with people like these lead generation chatbots, if there's anything, contract drafting, things like this, if it's like policy analysis and things like this, anything that AI can, ideally I tell all my students is like, look, you're looking for this volume value matrix or difficulty and value matrix. It should be easy to deliver but create a lot of value. And to do that, it often needs to be a simple task done thousands and thousands of times. So that's really, if you guys are looking to or interested in getting AI integrated into your business, do a sort of top head-to-toe analysis of your operations and determine, okay, what are these things that we do all the time? What are we doing across not just one person, but the entire team and one department? And how can we just make one small tweak there, and it will save us dozens of hours a week?
I mean, from what you're saying, I think even having a document on Google Docs that just simply says, lists out your tasks, and then has in a company-wide document, and then literally having the prompts, the frameworks of every prompt that you use to do those tasks listed in a sequential sequence that they can just access from anywhere, and just use ChatGPT to start. Even if you just had that centralized document and had these prompts for all of your staff to use relevant to the relevant tasks, that would still speed up things a lot at the basic level before you even start to automate.
Yeah.
Because then I suppose you can see from once you've done that and you've systemized that, you can see which is worth automating further in terms of making it so like push button from inside your panel, for argument's sake.
Yeah, we are in a little bit of a difficult spot in the adoption of the stuff at the moment, because a lot of these solutions that my students who are starting their own AI agencies, who are what they're selling, they might be selling it for the first time or the first couple of times. And there's so many people in this sort of broad base of people starting AI agencies now, where it's only, I talk a lot about the technology adoption curve. You may be familiar with it, where there's innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So every technology gets adopted in a sort of bell curve shape. We are in the early adopters phase right now, where people like yourself and myself are like, wow, this is really interesting technology. I can see the potential, and I'm not too concerned about it being like ultimately pragmatic and making 100% sense for the business. I'm more interested in being on the front foot and giving this thing a chance to see what it can do. So you're nodding because you're like, that's absolutely.
Well, at the end of the day, right, AI is coming whether I like it or not. I have to approach the dangers of it on here, and I asked you about the dangers of it because at the end of the day, other people are worried about that. Me personally, it's like, well, it's coming regardless of whether there's dangers or not. It's coming, and it's coming at a rate down the pipe that I see, that I already know because we remove content and I see how Google's used AI for years before it came out to the public domain. I see how far advanced we are down the AI road, way beyond what we see in the public domain. I see that, and I see how quantum computing is put on. When you match quantum computing with AI at the level they've already got it at, it's already over. Like the replacements that I see in the narrative that's going to happen is unbelievable. So for me as a business owner and you as a business owner, it's like, why wouldn't we use it right now? We have to. We've got no choice, basically. And that's why I wanted you on here to talk about AI, because I don't see anyone that's listening to this podcast that's got to this point. You have to use AI. If you've got a job, you have to use AI to make your job more efficient, to keep your job. If you've got a business, you have to use it to make more leads, more money, more volume, be more competitive on your pricing, perform better outputs for your clients. Simple as that. Regardless of whether you like AI or not, that is the realm I'm playing in. Am I going along the right curve?
Yeah. I mean, as I was saying, it's like people like ourselves are these early adopters, and makes it 100%. We're like, I'd rather be on the front foot than on the back foot. But there's this, they call it crossing the chasm, and they have to jump across from the early adopters to the early majority. And the early majority of the people who are sort of a little bit further behind than us, who are like, okay, I want to see how this makes sense for my business. I'm going to wait and see for people to do well with this. But they're going to get their serving. They'll be all right. But it's us as early adopters right now who are taking gambles on these AI solutions that people like myself are kind of discovering and popularizing through my channel, and then people in my community go on and start selling that onto other people. But we are still yet to see the data come back from a lot of these solutions. So, okay, I've built this, I've done this. Okay, what is it? What's the impact over 3 months? How can I measure the input? And I tell this to all the students as well. Look, when you are selling these solutions for the first time, get the initial recordings and data initially, so that you can then 2 months later, or when you finish delivering the service, say, hey, look, I made this. People want to see that tangible. I want to see this tangible ROI, that we got 20, like the example I gave, 20% more leads through the phone. That kind of information is so key, and that's what you need to jump from early adopters and selling these solutions to people who kind of just take that sounds cool, fuck it, let's do it. To jumping over to, I need some data on this. I need to see that this is worthwhile for me to even consider. It's a big gap to jump, but agencies are definitely getting there at the moment.
Would you start though? I mean, I'm just thinking out the box here, Liam. Like, would you start on anything revenue generating activities first? It's like, rather than service based activities. So what I'm saying is, if you look at content removal as an agency, wouldn't you start with my something AI that generates more leads and more business and more money at the front end, rather than automating the back end? Or would you start with the back end first and then go front end?
It's a good question. I think and it depends on completely on industry. Like you just said in your case, if there are service delivery aspects of your business that are by nature easy or accessible for these language models to assist with, which in your case, if it's content, as long as you can convert the video to transcripts and you can pull the information in as text from wherever it is posted online, then AI is excellent at helping with that stuff. But if you're a plumber and your service delivery is fixing toilets, then you focus on the lead side, right? Yep. So it is there's sort of generic things you can do across the acquisition side of things, like how to generate leads with the chatbots, like I mentioned, and then also analyzing sales calls and things like this. There's a bunch of systems like that you can do.
See, why I wanted to ask those questions specifically was because I wanted to show the audience, which you just have, is like, okay, if you've got an online business, like you're whether you're an e-com or whether you're a service-based business like content removal, you can use AI at both ends of the business, in those businesses, I think, and throughout your business, and it works perfectly. But if you are the plumber, if you are the carpenter, if you are the mechanic, you should 100% look at implementing AI into your top of funnel. Like, you know, how can we be reaching out to more clients? How can we be cold emailing using these funnels? How can our AI generate us a list of leads, and insert certain information into fire emails? How can it reply to emails? All this kind of stuff is what I would be looking at to generate more money and more lead flow into the business without spending on ads. Is that kind of would that be a good explanation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a case of we need more people selling these solutions, and so that these plumbers can go to, or plumbers can get reached out to, because they have no clue, but they can benefit from the stuff. Like if you have an invoicing or quoting system, or if you have a WhatsApp chatbot, like WhatsApp is such a huge use case, and you can build in a couple buttons, you can have a couple functions and tools, and you can put a WhatsApp chatbot on any business basically, especially if it's non-American, because they don't really like WhatsApp that much. But there's so many use cases, and it's really just a case of I've been trying to sound the alarm on this opportunity. And I was fortunate enough to kind of stumble across it through my own, starting off on YouTube, then going into consulting, and then starting a development company because I wanted to make more money off my consulting calls. And then eventually realizing I could sell those through low-code platforms. And there's so much opportunity here. And I can wholeheartedly say I wouldn't be doing what I was doing in terms of the education stuff that I was doing on the side if I didn't believe that this opportunity to sell these AI solutions to businesses wasn't the biggest thing right now in the space of online business. And not only is it isolated in that you can make money now in the short term, it has by far, you try to name any other online business model that has better long-term prospects. And I'm not just selling the dream here. I'm so passionate about this because I think a lot of people are jumping into old vehicles that don't offer the upside that things like AI agencies do. Because if you build a development team like I have, you build cash flow like I have, me and my team, you build a network of distribution as well. You now have the means to shoot at any opportunity in the AI space. I've started my own SaaS because I had development resources. I identified a problem within the market from working with my clients. You are setting yourself up for such bigger opportunities than if you were just doing an e-commerce store. What are you going to do? Exit a dropshipping store? Like that's the end goal if you start dropshipping, or you might transition into a brand. And how many people get to that end point of exiting their brand? And I know it might be the same with SaaS, but you can, having AI development resources right now, I can attest from my experience, everyone wants to talk to you because you are the guy with the resources to make the difference in their business. Because there's so much value in being able to provide these solutions to businesses. So if you're looking to get into online business or anything, at least consider the upside of having AI development resources, cash flow, and ideally you have some kind of personal brand backed off the back of it as well.
Yeah. I like the way you've how big has this personal brand been for you?
I mean, I was the quintessential online business jump around a guy. Like I did e-commerce and I made money there. And that was how I made my first $100,000. I think I was 19, so I thought I was pretty fly. And then I started working for my business partner's marketing agency and sort of furthered the skill set there. But I didn't see explosive results in my own and changes in my personal life until I decided to start the YouTube channel. And I remember when I was younger, I swore, I was like, man, I'm never ever doing YouTube, because you see the people back in the day who would do it for 5 years and still get 10 views. And I said, that is just not something I'm willing to bet on and put that much time into. But I saw that there was an opportunity, and I said, look, you're going to have to change your beliefs and give it a dig. And within 8 months, I'd got 100,000 subscribers from starting. And now we just hit 200,000, I think yesterday or the day before. It's
interesting because as a young man, I'd say that you're doing really well in life. And you just said something there that's so pivotal to everyone who listens to this. I had to change my beliefs. So what framework and what things did you use and tools did you use to change your internal beliefs so that you could access this new level of thinking? Because I think this is important. We can talk about AI and the possibilities of AI, but if your mindset isn't right, if you don't have the opening in your mind to be able to look and see this opportunity, you will shut it down real quick. So how have you done that?
I think it's just as you said, it's openness. Like I've always very firmly held it. I don't know if it was my dad telling me that, you don't know shit from chewed dates was what he always used to say. But I've always tried to be very, very, I guess it's having humility in what I know and being open to changing. I understand that. I think it's a reaction in myself from seeing so many people in the online business space. You saw the guys who made all the e-commerce money and were just obnoxious and awful about it. And I saw those guys and I said, man, and you saw the rise and fall as well. And so I have a very clear example of how not to behave and how not to have longevity in the space, which is ultimately what I want to have. And for me to come in and be fixed in my beliefs by the time I was 22 I'm much more open to new things and speaking to people like yourself and anyone older than me who's got more experience. So I guess it's just keeping my eyes open as much as possible and not falling victim to the patterns set by people before me. I think in the online business space, it's so easy to fall into the stereotype of the guy with, first it was the Lambo and the skinny jeans, and now it's the I guess it's still a Lambo, but you have like the Laura Pianas. Like there's different pockets of things that people fall into.
There's two types of, we were talking about this with James Blackwell the other day. There's two types of entrepreneurs that you see in Dubai or fit the Dubai, Miami type influencer persona, or the online persona, so to speak. You've got the wannabe Iman Gadzis, and then you've got the wannabe Andrew Tates. You've got you've got the wannabe Andrew and Tristan Tates that wear a suit but look shit in the suit, and that's not their style. And then you got the wannabe Iman Gadzis. Now Iman looks great in his style, and obviously I know him well, but that's his style. I can't wear that style, and neither should I try. You know what I mean? So what I see from the online space is like so many people trying to be someone else. Why don't you try and be the best version of yourself? And that's the whole problem in a nutshell. It's
the same conclusion that I came to, and it's an interesting thing that I've realized recently. I suppose it means I'm getting a bit older and potentially a fraction wiser. Is I had, if you guys knew me before, I had an Instagram that was fairly typical. I traveled a lot. As soon as I started making my e-commerce money, I was able to sort of travel and basically live overseas as soon as I was like 19. And just grinding on the businesses. Sometimes they were going terrible, sometimes they weren't. And we weren't living on much money at the time. But I realized that I'd stacked up this Instagram filled with all these photos of me, like shirtless or like I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm looking like the guy. And it was like a really nice set of photos. I got compliments. I was like, well, you got cool photos. And then I realized when I deleted them, people were like, oh, why do you delete them? And I thought, I realized that I was getting grouped into the people that I didn't want to be with. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm not the person that I was portraying on Instagram. And when you apply that to sort of all areas of your life, I realized that I was trying to attract certain things in my life, maybe a woman or opportunity or just friends as well. But I was using the wrong bait. And now I have this thing that I always say, wrong bait, wrong fish. So if you use the wrong bait or the wrong lure, if you want to use a fishing analogy, but wrong bait, wrong fish, I think it can be applied to so many things. So now I deleted my entire Instagram feed and I thought, look, if I'm trying to attract a certain type of woman or I'm trying to attract certain type of friends or opportunities or mentors, what are they going to, I want them to look at my thing and see me for who I really am. That's a complete waste of my time if I'm going to pretend to be someone who I'm not and then attract the wrong people and repel the people that I want to. And then when they meet me, I'm not even that person in the first place. So it's just a completely stupid way of doing things. So I've deleted everything and now I just post videos of me talking, sharing stuff that I like. Or I like to have big, long descriptions of my images of saying like, this is what I've been doing. I'm being really open about it. So that's a big change that I've made to try and be more transparent. And look, if you like me, you'll be attracted to me for me. And I'm hopefully attracting the right people into my life. Yeah,
that's congruency. I think to get that, early on in your life is so important because I would literally say 75% of the people that I see on Instagram are carbon copies of other people. There's podcasts out there that just podcast all the same guests as me, but the conversations are different and the reasoning behind them having a podcast is different. I actually want to make an impact to people's lives that listen to this. I actually want you to win. Like if you go and just carbon copy the podcast and book the same guest but don't have the similar conversation, it's not really the same, is it? So just find out who you are and do the work on finding out who the fuck you are, like critically who you are, like get really in the weeds with it, who you are, who you're not, and then turn up as that person. And when you turn up as that person and accept yourself fully, I think you can do and operate the way that you're saying. But like you say, imagine going through your whole life, putting out the Instagram feed in this way because everyone else is, and it's not you. It's like, wow, man. Like,
and then they wonder why they're not getting what they want out of life. It's like you're attracting the wrong stuff. Like it seems so clear to me now, and I hope if I can give this to any young people younger than me. I'm 23 years old, so I fully understand that I don't know shit, and it's so obnoxious when people who have got to maybe my point in life, you made a bit of money, now I have a YouTube channel and a bit of a following, to think that I can speak on all these topics. But like at the end of the day, I've gotten good at one little thing, which is this, selling AI solutions to businesses. And so if you come into my topic on that, I'll probably contest you on things. because that's what I feel like I specialize in and I know. But if there's anything outside of that, I'm all fucking ears. Like all ears to anything. If you've got advice on relationships, on life, on travel, on anything, I'm all ears, especially when it comes to business as well.
No, when I met you, I like the maturity of how you approach life. You know, for a young man who's doing well, who's earning good money, who's built a great team, who's built a great system, I don't think age matters anymore. Like I speak to like video editors for me that come to me that might be 15, 16 years old, come to me via the Instagram DMs. Phenomenal guys. Just know it doesn't, regardless of whether they're 15, sat in their mum's basement in Azerbaijan, that really doesn't affect the way that we do business today. It's like, are you the best at your art? Do you care? Are you crafting something? This is what I want every 39-year-old or 45-year-old that's listening to this podcast to understand. Age doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter that you're 39 or 45. You don't have a disadvantage. If you're 39 or 45 listening to this, you've got an advantage. The advantage you have is wisdom. You've been in the game long enough. It's just about having the aptitude to go, do you know what? I'm an old dog that can learn new tricks. I'm not just going to keep running my franchise the same way and expecting the franchise to hand me leads. I'm going to create a new way in AI to put into my franchise. I'm going to create a new way as a plumber to get leads from AI. You know, just a different way of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah. What you're talking about is actually exactly the kind of strategy that we're recommending to people. We're thinking of even pivoting part of our offer on the education side to be specifically for like turn your expertise into a career in AI, or because it's when there's young people like myself coming into it, or people who have no experience, or they may have done a bit of SMMA or something before, you don't have domain specific knowledge to understand what an area needs. So if I try to go and sell things to plumbers, and I've never stepped foot in a plumber, I've never even spoken to a plumber in my life, how am I going to know? I can take guesses and take jabs and probably iterate my way towards success if I have enough conversations, which is what I recommend to our students. But that's no replacement for if you're a plumber and you take a course or you absorb a bunch of information, you go, okay, I want to build these AI solutions for, like, it's a much more scalable and profitable vehicle to sell AI solutions to plumbers than to do plumbing work. So if you can convert, I'm saying this to everyone out there, if you have particularly if you have a LinkedIn network and you have a big following and a big extensive network you've built up, like you said, if you're 40 and you have this huge network, okay, what AI offer can I sell to these people? We're seeing so much success with this at the moment is, okay, I'm going to find a few key partners. I'm going to partner with maybe a development team, or I'm going to hire my own, or I'm going to work with people in like my free community or my paid community and get them in and say, I want to build a AI solution that serves these people. And using my network, I'm just going to roll this thing out. Like that is really the opportunity that we're trying to get out there as well, which is, yes, if you're looking to get into AI online business, this AI agency vehicle is one that may be difficult initially, but it has the legs long term. You can bet on this thing for 5 years. And for someone who was doing e-commerce and doing SMMA and these things, it was cool. Like it was cool to run ads and see the number go up, but it wasn't like I'm building an AI development company of cool people, and we have cool clients who come back to us because they love the work we do, and we're building really cool relationships. And it's by far the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And I wish other people who are getting into AI online business could get to that point as well. We're just being so proud of what they're building, and you can bet on it. It's the all-in aspect that's for me, that I'm here for 5 years. I'm here for 10 years. And I don't need to change. Everyone always wonders if the vehicle that they've chosen, are they too late to it? E-commerce, SMMA, these things, am I late to it? Well, yeah, the people who are telling you to start it probably got started 5 years ago, and now you're trying to jump on the coattails of it. So yeah, you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this.
No, 100%. And I just want to give, so that everyone that listens to this podcast has zero excuses. This is the way that I want you to think. Whether you're a girl that's got a nail tech business, you can be the girl that brings leads to nail tech businesses using AI. If you're a plumber out there, or a carpenter, or a builder, and you're a lad and you want to change your life, you can be the AI guy that brings and has the knowledge that brings leads to those businesses. You know, there's girls out there that are phenomenal eyebrows, tattooed eyebrows. Be the girl that uses AI to bring leads to the tattooed eyebrow girls. However you want to do it. There's so many ways. Just take your existing knowledge and think, okay, I can only work within this business, swapping time for money to a certain cap. Use AI to create leads for other women that want to do the job that you're doing anyway, because you might have a following of, say, 10,000 women on your Instagram account that want to do tattooed eyebrows, right? Well, just help them find the leads that want tattooed eyebrows and use AI to do it. And then you're now an AI prompt engineering girl who's got this really scalable model that brings beauty service businesses leads, you know, because you expand out from tattooed eyebrows, you expand into other niches.
Just an end-to-end like AI solution package for, I mean, that's what we say to do. Just solve one niche problem and then just try to expand out from it. What's the next thing what's the next problem that they face?
Yeah. And it's such a big opportunity in it. Like there's so much uncapped potential in this world when you actually break it down. What am I missing though? What question haven't I asked you today that I should have asked you that you can expand on, that, you know, what is it I don't know? I want to know what it is I don't know, Liam.
I think for people who are interested in what we've just been talking about, it's okay, how do I start? And that comes down to not buying my course or buying this. Like, I'm not just going to give you the hard sell here, but you need to get the information. Like, as you said, if you're in the nails industry, or a good example is the tattooing niche that I like to use, which is, okay, what's a solution that I can create for the tattoo parlors? I can create a WhatsApp chatbot that has a knowledge base. Maybe it has a main menu where it says, okay, booking a service, or meet our artist is a big one, of course, with tattoos. You want to see who he is or who he or she is and what their background is. And then you might have create a design. And so you can build these features in where they can book in. They can also get to know the artist. They can also generate images, not even just examples. You can use AI image generators connected into it as a feature, and you can say, hey, can you, like for me, I have a dragon and I needed to put some flames on it to make it look extra cool. So the guy had to go and sketch this thing up in the shop, and I was sitting there for hours. If I could just go on by WhatsApp and say, hey, give me a dragon and put some flames on it, and then it would send it back, and I go, because it's just using an API to generate an image, right? And it can pull it back in a tattoo style that you've...
And it's so easy to put that in.
Fairly easy setup to do. And you pull it in and they go, well, how do you like this? Or can you please change it, maybe put some stars on it? And you can go back and forth and come up with that kind of package and solution is fairly straightforward to do and creates so much value for both the customer and the business. That's all you need is given your different industries, you just need enough knowledge to come up with that. And take that WhatsApp formula and apply it to any business that you are, or any area that you're interested in. And that's usually a good place to start. WhatsApp is such a great deployment option for these systems, voice agents, etc. So the question is, if you're trying to start, how can you get enough exposure to these ideas, be it by watching YouTube videos or whoever, so that you can start to connect the dots and say, oh shit, like these are the things I can build. These are the opportunities that are available in the AI space right now. And that's what I try to put out through my channel as well. It's just like, get as much exposure out. Rather than me trying to work one-on-one with people, it's just, I'm going to, by sheer volume, get as much information as possible and let the smart people figure it out, and everyone else can kind of jump on the code.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get this information for free as well. Like, it's not like, you know, if they want to get more advanced, they can also buy the solutions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you can get all this information for free. You don't even need that, essentially.
And there's so much demand for the information as well. So if you want to follow my exact blueprint, the reason I was able to get 200,000 subscribers in like 14 months is because there's demand for this stuff. People, like, as I talk about this more and more, there's this opportunity here. More people are coming and searching different things up. I can't make all the videos myself. I've made a group of YouTubers in the AI space to help me get this message out and sort of scale the output of the tutorials that we do. But if you want to create a personal brand, if you want to get in on it, you can become the expert. Not only are you going to be selling it to nail salons or whatever, start talking about the nail salon solutions you're doing, and you'll attract more people to it. So there's so much demand for this AI stuff right now. If you make content, share it on LinkedIn, share it on YouTube, build a personal brand, you will just attract like a magnet and see incredible results, as I have.
And you can literally do it from whether you're the girl in the nail salon, the carpenter.
There's no experts.
Exactly.
It's too early.
It's democratized. It's democratized. So you can literally be anything. I could be the expert in podcast AI inside 12 months using that exact same formula. Because there's no barriers to entry with this.
None at all. That's I mean, that's why I can say I'm an expert in this stuff, despite not having 10 years of AI experience. If you go into marketing, you got Russell Brunson, 20 years. Like, these guys, there's no way you're going to get to experts take like 70% of the market share, right? They just soak it all up. You can be an expert in real estate. There's still no AI expert real estate guys that are very big. Every single niche you can think of, probably the one that you're in right now, if you're listening, there's no AI expert in there. I'm kind of a bit more general. So you won't be competing with me. You can go in there and say, I built this. And this is kind of the strategy we're rolling out to our students and within our program, is personal branding is the way to attract the early adopters to you, rather than trying to sell the guys who are never going to want AI for another 5 years. You need to get your foot in the door by selling to early adopters. The only way to attract early adopters to your business or find them is to create content that they're looking for. And then you can start to sell those, build your product, and then when the early majority comes and you can bridge over to the larger part of the population, you have the foundation to succeed and make the most amount of money.
And YouTube, like you say, is the best platform to build on because it's got searchability. It's a search engine. It ranks well in Google, and you know, it builds
trust.
It builds trust, and your best buyers are off YouTube anyway. In terms of like buying your services and buying long tail stuff, you can rank. And if you create evergreen content like what you're creating, every video that you create is evergreen. Like they're searchable, they're long key tail words, they're searchable forever and ever and ever in a day. So they'll just keep, as you are riding a wave where the AI search term is getting more and more searched month over month, week over week, year over year. So of course you're in a market where you can't fail to get subscribers. You could be fucking half as good as you are now and still be on 100K anyway. So it's like, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to do that? And that's something that's available to all of you that listen to this.
Yeah. I think one thing that I'm learning at the moment as well, and I think it'd be good if anyone's looking to start YouTube, particularly YouTube, is that you don't need massive numbers to make a lot of money. There's dudes who get 500 views, but if 20 of those are potential clients, like I'm used to making big videos that get like, I don't know, some of them got like 500,000, getting near to 1 million views on how to start AI businesses and how to build AI stuff. And I was kind of falling into the trap of thinking that's the only way to do it. And that's how I should grow. Sure, I grew quickly, but I think I could be nurturing a far more higher quality audience of agency owners and also business owners the business owners who I sell my multi-site solutions to, and the agency owners who I can help with my education program as well. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that the numbers and the subscriber growth and things like this is what's going to determine the value you create. How many appointments are being booked? How many link clicks are happening from your YouTube over to your landing page? Those are the metrics you should be looking at and optimizing towards, because you only need an audience of 1,000 people.
I agree, because
quality, man.
A guy I know called William Brown, you probably know him as well. He made one video. He did like
I think I've watched his stuff recently.
I think he did like 50K and he sold like 120,000 US of stuff off the back of the 50K video. Another video did 400K. I think he's done probably about near on 1.5 million out off the back of that video. When you have the right audience and when you build in your true authentic light, you attract the right people to do business with you anyway. It's a similar way that I'm building this podcast. I've built slowly, super slowly, but the audience is strong. You know, it's a real audience, and not many podcasts have any real audience. They're mostly juiced up numbers, fake views, all that shit. Whereas what you're saying is 100% true. And I know this from MySpace. When you build a loyal audience and you actually try and give them value and you actually turn up and do that, the audience you're building is valuable. You know, I've got people that listen to this podcast do 100 million a year more. So you don't get those type of listeners on the mainstream podcasts that do all the fear mongering and all the crap that I don't want to do.
Yeah, that's getting bad, man.
So what I'm essentially saying is you are 100% right in what you in five, and not all views are the same. Another example of this is Zarek, the direct response copywriter guy that owns, I can't think of his firm's name, but he's smashing it on YouTube as well, because small following, 7K or 10K followers or something like that, but just videos get like 40, 50K views. He's only got 3 videos, but it's just the quality of the information that you put out and the relevance of it and the strong personal brand. He'll do $1 million out of those 3 videos because of his client base.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy trap to fall into, and it's an interesting one because as a creator, it's projection as well. So if I am concerned about my videos not getting many views because I think it looks bad, it's because that's what I think about when I look about other people. So okay, this guy has X amount of subscribers and he gets this amount of views. If the reason that only bothers me and that I'm afraid of doing that is because I'm projecting it onto, like it's reflecting back at me, that because I'm judging other people for it, I'm scared of being judged. Whereas other people might not judge me at all, and I should really be measuring it off the impact that I've got on the core people that matter. If I can get 10,000 people watching my videos consistently, then I'm really helping. That's far better than doing you do a disservice to your audience when you try to, as a creator, go broad and make, okay, how can I package this video down to the lowest common denominator so that I can, I've gone really, really basic on some of these videos and they get the most views, of course. They get over 500,000, but if I make something that's really tailored to my core audience and the people who I really want to help, and like I said, if I can create these AI entrepreneurs and as many of them as possible, that's how I can have the best impact on the world. I should just be focusing on the core audience and not worrying about the views. It's really.
I think as humans we get wrapped into this views algorithms. Like at the end of the day, I was thinking about this in short form content, and I was telling you about this the other day. It's like, I looked at it, we got 16 million short form views across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, and Instagram Reels, right? But when I looked at the analytics of the podcast and how that correlates to the growth of the audience, my growth is still very steady on Apple and Spotify specifically, not YouTube. YouTube's obviously grown more from the back of that content. And you actually have to ask yourself, you know, what actually really moves the needle? Is it that, you know, or is that just a vanity metric? Are you spending money on vanity metrics rather than spending money on what actually really moves the needle? And you've always got to question yourself whether on what path you're getting pulled down as an entrepreneur every single time.
Yeah, I think it's purely comes down to those KPIs. If you're measuring the wrong thing, like for me, long time subscribers was the number that I was focused on. So I did everything to, when the number didn't go up as much as I thought, that's okay, I need to change the inputs. But now that I've sort of shifted away from, okay, I've got 200, I don't need any more fucking subscribers. Like, that's not something that's going to change the amount of impact I create on the world. If I needed it for authority, I've got authority now. 200,000 is a lot of people. Now I can work back from there and say, okay, what's the new KPI that I need to look for? Is it appointments booked? Is it link clicks off YouTube to whatever I'm promoting, or whatever services that I'm trying to sell through my agency and the education program? Or is it through the end result, which is successful agency owners created or successful client builds that we've done? Like, if you change the metric, then you get a much better lens to look through to determine what success really is.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact, you know, at 23, you're really laying that down for this audience, because it's so critical that you get the metric that you're chasing right in life. Mm-hmm. I know that in many parts of my life, I've chased the wrong metrics, and it's always led me to fuck things up or take money, wrong clients on. You always do something stupid on the back of doing that. You take the wrong clients on, you do a bad deal, you lose money, you lose focus, you lose what the truth is. If you just sit there with a journal and get real straight on, you know, what you want out of life, what you want out of your business, what you're truly optimizing for, and then ask yourself at the end of the page, you know, is what I'm optimizing for what I really want? Mm-hmm. You know, and being radically honest with yourself, that allows you to go down the path that you're going down at 23, which could take you to 33 if you don't do it now. So that, I love the way that you've articulated that. I like to ask this question at the end of every podcast, because I feel it articulates for the audience something really powerful and measurable that they can take away and implement in their life today. And the question is this: if there's one thing, Liam, that you've got to, if you can't leave your AI agency, you can't leave the money, you can't leave anything else, but you could just leave one pearl of wisdom with this audience that they can put in their life from today, and it takes them forward 1%, what would that be to you?
If I was to have the biggest impact on as many people's lives as possible, it would be to consider if selling AI solutions in some way could be a part of your journey. And I think if you don't even, at least it might not be, but at least consider it. And that's not because I'm going to benefit from that. It's really just, this is the way that you can get the most out of being an online business person, in my mind, at this current time. And at least consider it. Please just give it a look, dig into some things, and see if, look, can I transfer my abilities over to the AI space? Because you don't want to look back in 5 years and be like, wow, I've really missed the boat on that. So that's the most important thing that I would say. If I could tell myself as well, it would be just consider it, look into it, give it a chance.
I like that. I like the way you say consider it, because at the end of the day, guys, if you don't consider where the world's going, you're going to get stopped in your tracks at some point in time. So I hope this podcast has been really, really insightful on AI, how you can use AI in your business, and the way that you should be looking at how you structure yourself so that you can take everything, you know, that AI has to offer. And even if you think you're a carpenter, or I'm just a carpenter, or I'm just a plumber, or I'm just this, or I'm just that, or you can use it in any part, any job role, any position. You can use it from anywhere, and you can learn in your own time. Do not miss the boat on AI and using it in the best way to serve yourself as possible. Thank you very much for coming on there today, brother. I really appreciate it. Subscribe on every platform, and I appreciate you listening. Much love. Guys, do me a solid favor. Drop a comment below this video and let us know who you want on the podcast next.